is an absolute dream outside. It's December 1st, and I woke up to snow. Finally, in Kansas City, it feels like a winter wonderland. How lovely. Bucky's first snow, too, which is very special. He didn't know what to think at first, but then he got the zoomies, as most English Springer Spaniels do, and he has been having the time of his life. Welcome to another weekly vlog. I am very excited for this first week since it's December. We'll talk about some of my monthly favorites. I'm working my way through The Artist's Way, as you all know if you've been following along. I am officially on week 9, which is recovering a sense of compassion. You know the drill. We'll talk a little bit about what that means to me, what I've learned from Julia Cameron. With that, let's get right into this video. Happy December and happy holidays. Happy to have a winter wonderland. I have a lot of updates to share. The first one being that it is December 2nd. I finished day 1 of 75 booked, and surprisingly, it went pretty smoothly. The only thing that was hard that I forgot and didn't realize how challenging it would be was to get my 8,000 steps in. I didn't realize just truly how sedentary I've become, but I did walk on the treadmill and I got my 8,000 steps while finishing up Heavenly Bodies via audiobook. I finished it. I absolutely loved it, even the second time through. And this week, Logan and I will be starting Fallen Stars, the sequel. We're so excited. I'm so excited. You need to read the series if you haven't read them yet. Well, I guess since I haven't read the second one either, but my favorite series, probably one of my favorite series that I will ever read, and I hope that Fallen Stars does not disappoint. I also read a little bit of Palestine Hijacked. I'm trying to read a chapter a day. Some chapters are really long, so just a few pages. As a reminder, for 75 booked, I have 2 45-minute reading sessions, and yesterday I read a chapter with my first reading session. It reads like a history book as it is, but it's still really devastating and sad and very informational, and I am glad that this is the nonfiction book that I'm working on, and my goal is to finish it before the end of the year. For my second reading session, I guess I had a third since I walked on the treadmill, I did start a new book, and I figured I could turn this into a reading vlog as well. I started Bright I Burn by Molly Aitken. This is gifted to me by Vintage Books. Bright I Burn is a story about Alice, who grows up in 13th century Ireland, Kilkenny, Ireland to be specific, and she's the daughter of a wealthy innkeeper. Alice grows up watching her mom struggle through different responsibilities and constraints of being a woman. During this time, it's basically a society where women are just told to have kids and bear children. That's their one true meaning in life. Alice grows up telling herself that she's not going to suffer like her mother. The story starts off pretty quickly from Alice's point of view, and we automatically learn that her mother dies, and Alice learns and starts to understand the importance of money and owning something, and she decides that she's not going to live the same fate that her mother had lived growing up. And so this is a story about Alice standing up to the patriarchy and deciding to choose her own fate and taking over her father's innkeeping business. With that, she also meets men in her life, and it sounds like, from what I'm reading, she has learned how to take advantage of different situations to help her gain something in return. I really like that about her. I've actually been really enjoying reading from her point of view. It kind of seems like I'm reading her diary, even though there's a lot of conversations that are happening between different characters. I like her mentality, and I just like how quirky and aggressive she is. She's not afraid to stand up to men. She's not afraid to voice her opinion, especially during this time. And I think that causes a lot of unease within Kilkenny because everyone is always talking about her because she's not acting like a true woman should during this time period. The chapters are really short, which I obviously always prefer because it feels like I'm making quite a little bit of progress. And with each chapter, we're also jumping a little bit more forward in time. I'm honestly not sure where the story is going to go yet. We'll see where this goes, but I'm excited. I'm liking it. I don't have any issues with it so far. So this is the book that I'm going to be chewing on all week until I finish it. It's really short. Actually, it's only about 250 pages. So I am hoping and assuming that I will get done with this in this vlog. I'm having a great time with The Artist's Way, even though I am struggling to get through this week's. This week is week 9, recovering a sense of compassion. And I listened to this chapter and took some notes while I was walking on the treadmill getting my 8,000 steps in. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really remember what I read. I highlighted some stuff. I feel like this chapter is a repeat of last chapter. I feel like we've talked about fear before and how blocked artists, they're not lazy, they're just blocked. And it's because of the self-doubt and the fear of thinking that we can't do something perfectly or believing that we aren't capable of finishing an activity. That's how I feel, at least. And that's where my fear comes from. I've already talked about fear. We've talked about fear, right? Am I crazy? Could be crazy. Something that I love that Julia Cameron does say is that do not call the inability to start laziness, call it fear, like I just mentioned. Great minds think alike. And then use love for your artist to cure its fear. Acknowledge that fear, know that it's there, and the only way to move forward is to accept the fear and just know that it's all in your head. The worst thing that you think that can happen is not even that bad. For example, for my knitting project, the worst thing that could possibly happen for me is for the stitches to be uneven, for me to miss a row, for the sweater to be too short, for the sweater to not fit me. And honestly, that's not even that bad. I'm getting practice and I am creating something. I'm so proud of my collar. And if only I could just stop right here. But it's that fear that hinders us from moving forward. That's all I'm going to say. I said too much. And then the second part is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is not an emotional state. It is a spiritual commitment, a loving surrender to our creative process, loving recognition of all the creativity around us. Enthusiasm is grounded in play, not work, which we've talked about, which Julia Cameron has mentioned so many times. Our artist within us is really just our child that wants to play. Art is the process, and to enjoy the process because the process is supposed to be fun. Yes, there are some hardships that come with knitting a sweater, but I'm still really enjoying it because I'm just so excited for the outcome. And in the end, for me, enthusiasm trumps fear. Remember like 2 seconds ago, I was like, I don't remember what I read, but here I am talking about what I read. I'm a smarty. The last section is about creative U-turns, which I found to be interesting and I liked this concept and I can actually relate to it. Creative U-turn is when you start working on a creative endeavor and then you pivot because you are afraid. You pivot because what you're working on isn't what you are expecting. You pivot because you don't really know what the outcome is going to be like, and it's not something that you have pictured in your head. It's not that perfect outcome that you were hoping for. So you take a creative U-turn to kind of run away from that issue or that project. And I've done that a few times, but it's the idea of embracing and accepting those U-turns and figuring out why you take creative U-turns. For me, it's usually fear and not believing in myself. It's the confidence that makes me question myself, and it makes me pivot and take that creative U-turn. Anais Nin says, life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. The thing about creative U-turns is that every job or every person experiences a creative U-turn, even if it's not tied to something artistic. I have experienced creative U-turns at my current job, and that's the beauty of us just being human and not being perfect. And it's the reminder that nothing needs to be perfect. And when we take these creative U-turns, we're actually just denying ourselves from the enjoyment and denying ourselves from what could actually be the true outcome or what the true outcome should be. And it's the idea of letting the imagination flow to you and not having this picture perfect idea that you want to come to life, but it's focusing on enjoying the process and the moment rather than the outcome. So that's how I'm seeing creative U-turns tie into the bigger picture of art. This was a blah chapter. I feel like I just said the same thing over and over again. I need to figure out what I want to do for my artist date this week. I do know that I am sick and tired of eating leftover green bean casserole. I have turned into a green bean myself. Love green bean casserole, but I've had enough. So I'm gonna look through my cookbooks and we're going to make something delicious for dinner. That was a lot. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Since we've hit the beginning of December, I thought that I would share some of my favorites from the month of November because I have some goodies that I love. Starting off with this very expensive and unnecessary piece of plastic that I am obsessed with. It is the MEJ claw clip. It's just black. It's so sturdy, and what I love about it is the fact that it could hold my entire head of hair all day. I have been growing out my hair, and my hair is pretty long. It's getting there. It's the longest that it's ever been, and I've found that this claw clip is great because it keeps my hair in place all day. I feel like I can just shake my head and go dancing. I'm so glad that I bought it, and I am eyeing the red one. It's the perfect red, kind of like my sweater. Might as well keep my hair like this while we continue with my favorites. As you all know, I've been working through the artist way and I've been journaling quite a bit. Mark actually got me into fountain pens, and I'm really happy about that. Fountain pens, I feel like they just romanticize your writing and they just elevate your journaling experience, or that's how I felt lately. These are my 4 fountain pens that I have. I don't have very many and I'm growing my collection, but I've found that I really like the extra fine nib fountain pens. These are from the same brand. These are the, I don't even know, like Jinhao pens. This one has black ink and this one has a blood red ink. It's a beautiful, it's kind of maroon and dark. And then this is my Kaweco Sport. I take this along with my Paper Republic pocket journal, which is in green, so it's a perfect match color. And then this one is the Twisby Eco, and the color of ink in here is a bright orange. So these are just the 4. I'm asking for a few more pens and inks for Christmas, and I can't wait to add to my collection. I have to give knitting a shout out as a favorite for the month. Knitting has been a very stressful but also really fun process, and I am learning so much about myself all over again. It is a creative outlet, but also it's a way for me to overcome my perfectionism, and it's a way for me to realize that it's okay to have to start over. Like I mentioned, I've started over on my collar a few times now. It's okay though, because I have finished it. I finished my collar and I'm really proud of it, and I just need to keep going. And here we are. I've shared this mug before, I'm pretty sure. I took a pottery class during the pandemic, and I've been friends with the instructor since. She's made me a few mugs that I've fallen in love with. She made me a few mugs for wedding gifts and my bridal party for my wedding. But this is my absolute favorite mug for the rest of eternity. It's a mug of Mowgli. I got it made in October, and it took a while for her to work on it, and I've been using it every single weekend. It's kind of like my weekend mug. I miss Mowgli every single day, and I love him so, so much, and this is just a lovely reminder of my love, my favorite mug. I am not new to Paper Republic or Louise Carmen, although I don't have a Louise Carmen. I have the Paper Republic Grand Voyager Pocket Journal, and I take it everywhere I go. I have made a few DIY journals in the past, and nothing really compares to the leather and quality of the Paper Republic. I had been eyeing this leather color. It's called Venezia for the longest time, and I even made a dupe of this leather colorway, but it just doesn't compare to this beauty. So I ended up getting the Paper Republic Grand Voyager XL in Venezia, and it's the perfect plum, and it's gonna patina so well. I love the orange cords that I added to it. It's just the perfect contrast, and I need to find another adjective outside of perfect. But this is my Paper Republic that I use every single day, so I'm getting great use out of it. I really should film a journal ecosystem video since I have multiple journal covers and notebooks for different subjects. But for now, I'll share what I keep in my Paper Republic Grand Voyager XL. So as you open it, I just have some photos and some pockets to put things in. The first notebook that I have in here is my brain dump. It's just anything and everything that I might think of. Just my odds and ends, things that don't fit into my other notebooks that I have in here. The second notebook is my knitting notebook. Since I've been knitting, I've been taking notes. This is my first time knitting a sweater. I just stare at the yarn that I'm using, take notes as I go along and going through this process, and just kind of a memory keeper of my projects that I'm working on. And then we have the back of the cover that has some stickers in it. This next journal is my commonplace journal where I take notes on specific topics. I have been reading a book about Palestine and the Israeli-Palestine conflict, so I've been taking a lot of notes on here as well. And then my final journal is my reading journal. It just has the books that I've read and jotting down some notes about the books that I've read. So that's a quick run through of what's in my Paper Republic. Like I mentioned, I love the color, no regrets. I'm in the year of treating myself while also learning to save money, which is very contradictory. And then for books, I can usually expect to have one favorite for the month, but this month, I have two favorites. The first one, I filmed a reading vlog for, Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. Check it out. No spoilers. It's just such a good story about what it's like to be a woman in society today and how women are treated. There's just so much commentary on how political life can get for a woman in this story. I just loved everything about it, and I'm not going to talk too much about it since I already have in previous videos. I just really liked what Girl Dinner actually meant in the story. It filled my appetite for sure. And then we have Heavenly Bodies, which is a reread for me. I ended up listening to the audiobook, and I loved it even more the second time around. If you want a romantasy that is not cookie cutter and that doesn't have every single trope that every other romantasy book has, you should definitely read this book. I can go on and on and on, but I'm so glad that I read this in November because Logan and I are officially starting Fallen Stars tonight. I'm so giddy. I can't wait. I am ready for Fallen Stars. These are my favorites from the month of November. Now I actually need to figure out what to do for dinner. Last night I said I was going to make dinner, but I ended up eating cottage cheese, and Mark finished up the green bean casserole, and now he's turned into a green bean. Now we're both green beans, so tonight I'm gonna make something delicious. So let's get cooking. Why did I do that? I've been trying to be more intentional about the items of clothing that I put on my body and the types of fabric that I purchase, and making sure that I only wear natural fibers, or as natural of fibers as I can get. So since about the summer months, I've slowly started to transition out these pieces that no longer serve me, so I can fill my wardrobe with fabrics and materials that I would want to put on my body. So looking at cotton, linen, wool, natural fibers. An example of that would be this cause sweater that I thrifted, but it's 100% wool. Also, moving forward, I'm trying to make sure that the brands that I shop from are sustainable and they give back to the environment, because that's very important to me. That Black Friday was a few days ago, and I did make my very first purchase from a French brand called Sézane. If you have heard of it, then you will know that their style is very timeless and their products are just so well made, and their materials is just long lasting as well, from the reviews that I've heard, since this is my first time making a purchase. And here she is. I thought we could do an unboxing. I already know what I got and I've opened it, but I haven't shown you guys, so that's what we're going to do. I am stunned by the material and just how everything feels, and I can't wait to wear and put it on my body. Okay, but look at this. They wrap it in tissue paper and leave a little sticker that says surprise. The first item that I got is this basic white tee. It is the Nolan tee in ecru. What I love about this material is that it is pretty thick. I believe it is cotton, 100%, yes, 100% cotton. And the detailing of the shirt, I have quite a few t-shirts, basic tees, but the ribbing on the collar and the sleeves are just so dainty and beautiful. I just wanted a delicate t-shirt that I can wear with some of the sweaters that I got, because I did get 3 sweaters. Basic Nolan tee in ecru. I haven't taken French since high school. And then I got their infamous sweater, the Gaspard sweater, and I got this in ecru as well. It's so soft. Oh my gosh. Looks like this sweater is made up of 3 different types of fabric. 37% super kid mohair, 37% baby alpaca, and 26% polyamide. And the polyamide is actually made up of recycled fabric, so that makes me feel better about that. But it's just so soft, and I think it's just going to go really well with any winter clothes, but also the spring and fall as well. So I can see myself getting quite a lot of use. I also don't normally wear cardigans. I mostly just wear sweaters, and definitely I don't have any cardigans that are in white. So I'm glad I got this, and this will go with a lot of things. Okay, so I ended up getting that same Gaspard sweater, but in this beautiful, beautiful red color. The color is called Rouge, so red in French. I am just in love with the material, and this is gonna go honestly with any season, even in the summertime. I could layer it in case there's like a cool evening. Based on what I've purchased and based on the types of clothes and colors that I wear, I'm pretty monochromatic, or I'm pretty basic with the colors. I usually like to wear solid colors, so this next sweater that I got myself is a little outside of my comfort zone, but I could not pass up the color combination. I am obsessed. The Emile or Emile, I'm pretty sure it's the Emile sweater in multicolor. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, just as soft as the Gaspard sweaters as well. Let's look at the material of this one. Honestly, I feel like when I'm really good at knitting, I could probably make a sweater very similar to this, which is very exciting. One day maybe. This is 40% merino wool, 36% super kid mohair, 13% polyamide, and then 1% cotton. So not bad at all with the fabrics that are being used. It's gonna keep me so warm. So this is actually a little bit more on the thicker side compared to the Gaspard. So more for the warmer months. Gosh, I'm gonna look so cute. So those are the 4 pieces that I got myself, and then they gave me a free scrunchie. I have been putting my hair up in clips, and I've been doing more updos since my hair is a lot longer now. I'm actually getting it trimmed tomorrow, and I've been wanting a thick scrunchie like this. So it's nice that I got it for free, and then I can try it out to see if I actually even like it when I put my hair up. And that is my Sézane haul. I do have one sweater coming from a very special place, but it hasn't arrived yet. It was supposed to arrive yesterday, and it didn't arrive. It was supposed to arrive today, and I was hoping to share it with my Sézane haul, but c'est la vie. So I'll just have to share it with you all whenever I get it, if I ever get it at this point. Keeps getting delayed, and I don't understand why. Okay, the sun is out, there's no more snow, just give me my sweater. My hair always looks extra curly after I get my hair cut. This is my natural hairstyle. It is very curly, but I'm so lazy. I wash my hair twice a week, and most of the time I just brush my hair out, which I know you're not supposed to do with curly hair, but I'm just so lazy with products that I don't care. I just don't care. We'll leave it at that. I don't care. But this is how it looks, and I don't actually like it when it's super curly. And that's why I'm growing my hair out, because I don't like it when it's super curly, when it's super short. The longer it grows, the more I end up liking it, but it's important to get trims while you're growing your hair, especially with curly hair, because my hair turns into a mushroom when it's super long and not taken care of. That is my hair update, and I also finished Bright I Burn by Molly Aitken. This is not my favorite female rage book by far, but I am glad that I read it. I would not have picked this book up if I was not gifted this copy by Vintage Books. I don't really know anyone else who's read this book. Overall, especially next year, I'm trying to focus on diversifying the type of books that I read and reading outside of my comfort zone. So I'm glad that I read this, and I would not have read this if I didn't know that this is based on true events. So Alice is actually a real woman and the first woman in Ireland to be accused of witchcraft and heretic behavior. I didn't know that until reading a little bit more into this book, and if that were not the case, I probably wouldn't have finished this book, and I'm glad I did because I ended up looking into a little bit about her after I finished today, and it's very fascinating. This is not a witchy or witchcraft story. I would say this is more so a book about a woman who doesn't give in to the patriarchal society that she was raised into, and this is about a woman who goes against everyone's orders really to become a businesswoman, and this is unheard of in the small town of Kilkenny. And as a protagonist, there were times where I didn't like her. I didn't like what she was doing, but that's what made me want to read this story even more. How would I have felt if Alice were actually a man named Alex? How would I have felt if this was from the point of view of a male? I would not expect anything else. But since this was from a woman's perspective, I was honestly rooting for her and I wanted to finish the story. I found the writing style to be pretty addictive with really short chapters. However, I wasn't immersed into 1300s Ireland, into this medieval time period. I felt that the writing and descriptions were very modern, especially when we were using words like businesswoman, and the story was told, it felt like from a woman who was describing a woman in today's society in 2025. So that kind of took me out of the story, but outside of the fact, since I was so immersed into Alice's life, especially knowing what some of the townspeople were thinking about her, it made me want to continue reading. In between specific chapters of the story, there's little dialogues between townsfolk and them talking about Alice. And so you're reading from Alice's point of view and her perspective, but you're also getting little tidbits of what people are thinking of her. And I thought that was very smart and unique for a way to tell a story. Even though this isn't a book that I absolutely loved and I found some reasons to dislike the story, I'm still really glad that I read it, especially since it read so fast, and I don't regret reading this book. Let me know if you do decide to pick it up and read it, because like I said, I don't really know anyone else who has read this book yet, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're going to end this video right here. It's about time. I feel like this vlog was all over the place, but also that might be fun. I will see you in another video next week. Have a great day. Bye.